So, hey everybody, my name is Brandon Suchin, and I am the project lead of the Utopia Smart City Energy Engagement Team. So, I had the great honor of being a part of this team and leading this team. Members consist of myself, Thorn Harvey, Lucian Roberson, Nina Olson, Rahul Rajan, and Gemini Boudry. So, what is Utopia Smart City, you ask? So, they are a smart city development that's currently being built in the Phoenix metro area in Arizona. So, this community will be built out of shipping containers and use renewable energy, have sustainable agriculture, and also have multiple case uses of blockchain technology in the project. So, our project was trying to fix this issue of how are we going to incentivize residents of this community to use their energy more efficiently. And so through a survey that we sent out, which received over 200 responses and a bunch of research my team did, we came up with this energy engagement program that my team will now discuss right now.
Thank you, Brandon. So the overarching problem that Utopia Smart City is encountering is a higher energy demand during the peak hours, 2 to 8 p.m., while the energy is low and fluctuating. The second issue that arises is the barriers that prevent residents from changing their energy use habits. According to our survey, family and personal needs along with work schedules may prevent them from doing this, as well as their own comfort with keeping their lifestyles the same. We all know changing old and convenient habits is hard, especially when there's no apparent reason to do so. Although increasing energy efficiency is important to the community, many people don't see it this way because they are comfortable with their current lifestyle. Next. An additional problem is energy use transparency. According to our survey, only 43% of respondents know that they would be comfortable with energy use transparency. Along with this, a whopping 98% of residents or respondents monitor their energy usage less frequently than daily. Energy monitoring is an essential piece to a community energy program, so we needed to figure out how to have residents monitor their energy use more frequently. When it comes to breaking bad habits, When it comes to breaking bad habits, we need to implement behavioral theory such as social learning theory and persuasion theory, which Raul will explain later, so that people have an awareness of a need to change and the opportunity to consider other options. Next.
So there are two major behavior change theories. The first one, social learning theory, suggests that habits can be formed or changed based on imitating or observing others. A reward system can be highly effective, especially when you're observing others getting rewards. You would want to model yourself after them, so you receive the same benefit as well. We truly believe this could increase willingness of residents to engage in energy transparency. The second theory, persuasion theory, is a theory that suggests that strives to persuade energy consumers to change their habits by adhering to three main pillars: a trusted speaker, a strong argument, and a responsive audience. If these key three conditions are not met, you'll be highly ineffective in changing habits or behaviors in terms of energy consumption. The first two conditions are quite controllable: trusted speakers and strong arguments, when trying to persuade others to reduce energy use. Third condition, responsive audience, is much more volatile because not everyone will be responsive to the argument. However, it is possible to get more responsiveness in the audience with the energy engagement program we recommend. Next slide.
So, both social learning and persuasion theory can be used in conjunction with a reward system. With these tools, we solutioneers created an energy engagement program with three types of systems: financial compensation, a tokenized economy model, and the all-for-one, one-for-all strategy. These three pillars will help the higher energy demand during peak hours while lessening the impact of the barriers that stop residents from changing their energy use habits. Next.
Thank you, Thorn. So of the top strategies studied, financial incentives were by far the most effective motivator for changing energy behavior. While it would be great if everyone was just willing and able to alter their energy behavior, as Thorn mentioned, not everyone thinks it's a big deal, but also not everyone is able to. Bills come first, life is hard. As much as you would love to save the ducks, you need to keep the energy on from 2 to 7 at night, or however you currently run your house. So this incentive could come in the form of cashbacks, rebates, or one of several other strategies. Not only are you providing ease of mind, ease of mind for living in a green community, but also providing tangible financial returns through energy savings. Now, that's a benefit that anyone could understand and be swayed by. And financial incentives aren't something that are just seen in larger scale companies and policies. Respondents of our survey, 71% of them said that they would prefer financial returns over any other form of incentive, or monetary rewards would be on their top. If this project is able to integrate real monetary rewards that are clear, communicative, and seen as fair, there will be a massive increase in community participation. Now, the second one that we found was very interesting is a little bit hard to wrap your head around. It's a tokenized economy model. So what is a decentralized economy or token economy? It focuses less on cash, like the previous incentive did, more redeemable tokens that are recognized as a store of value. I don't want to get into the economies of cryptocurrency as a whole, as that would take a few college level lectures to get into, but there are two key aspects of a tokenized economy and their benefits. The first one is able to stake ownership in the community. Second is able to foster communities and small businesses. Tokens awarded are similar to stocks in a sense. They represent a share of the community. This is very in line with the idea that if you own a community or object, that you will be more incentivized to take care of it, rather if you were just a tenant who just happens to be living there for a year. You leave, you don't care what happens to it if the quality of life goes down in your shared tenants. And the second one is fostering community for the benefits of tokenized economies. With many members being small business owners and entrepreneurs, hopefully the tokens would be just instantly redeemable from any of these small vendors, helping small businesses, as well as increasing that positive community relations.
We found that 82% of survey respondents are willing to help increase energy efficiency in the community. And so the community ownership is important, kind of what Lucian was going off of, is because if we own a share of something or we take part in it, we're going to be a lot more likely to take care of the item. So for example, if I own a piece of Lake Michigan, through a sale or through incentivization, I will be a lot more likely to visit the lake, and then I will also be a lot more likely to, let's say, pick up the litter if I see any, or be a lot more active with whatever I own, for example, Lake Michigan. So I would be doing my job a lot more to take care of it. This also shows how ownership changes not only what we think about it, but also how we treat the environment around us.
All right. One interesting finding that came of the survey was that 41%, almost half of respondents, don't trust the prices that are given by utility companies. And why would they? As the only players in the energy field, utility companies have a lot of control over what they supply. This is why decentralized energy, where people generate their own power, has been gaining a lot of attention in recent years. And it's just one of the benefits that come from Utopia's new community. Additionally, because most people currently only check their usage once a month, accordingly, the most widely used form of monitoring was directly from their energy bill. Then we have our far second as the energy utility provider's website, as well as people who don't check at all, and those who track usage with a smartphone app. Last, we have people with an energy utility tracking box installed at home, like the mPower box supplied by SRP. So obviously, the first barrier Utopia has to push through is getting people off their dependency on the monthly bill. They can do this by making real-time adjustments as easy as possible with smartphone integration, installed home power boxes, or both. So, do you remember when Thorin mentioned earlier in our presentation that only 2% of respondents monitored their energy usage at least once a day? Through our survey, we actually found that with the right incentives, that measly 2% skyrockets up to 73%. That's a huge change. Can you imagine if over 3/4 of the population could adjust their energy use every single day? What that would mean for energy use efficiency as we transition towards cleaner energy sources. It really just goes to show how a little bit of flexibility and encouragement goes a long way. And honestly, I think it's a wonderful reflection of the spirit of business coming together with sustainability, where we have folks collaborating on a common goal, each negotiating for what they want with what they have to offer, and at the end of it, creating an incredible synergy worth more than the sum of its parts. If we can get this right, I think we have a really bright future ahead.
So to wrap up our presentation, why is incentivization necessary? Well, it's necessary especially in terms of because the behavioral practices people are habitually used to will not change unless there's something to be gained. And our other question, how can incentivization change behaviors? Well, people need to be given a reward or something in return for changing their behavior. For example, when looking at our energy engagement program, you saw that 207 survey respondents agreed that either financial compensation, a tokenized economy, or an all-for-one, one-for-all perspective were the three biggest things that could spur them to change behaviors. These three things are incentives to be gained in our society. Therefore, people are willing to change if given these societal rewards. Any questions?
All right, excellent job, team. So I will, so this first question comes from Megan. So it's, have you heard of mutual aid? It is a collective to reciprocal, horizontal, and collective care. Would you consider this an aspect of a tokenized economy? And I'll definitely let Megan jump in if she'd like to add any more to that question. I know there's kind of a lot of components to it.
Yeah, essentially a mutual aid is, they've been popping up in cities around the country that offer any items from gloves to food and whatnot to families of minority populations, and they don't consider it donating. They consider it just a redistribution of products and whatnot. So I just thought that was an interesting aspect.
All right, very interesting. Yes, that is definitely has a lot of, definitely ties into a lot of the aspects of the project. So the next question comes from Mesverer. Apologies if I mispronounced that. The question is, how do you plan on getting more people on board with these habits outside of the SMART community, especially with the challenges of blockchain not being implemented quite yet?
Yeah, I think that's the question, right? And like Gemini was saying and alluded to, if we were able to do that, we can definitely see a big increase in energy efficiency. I think some factors involve just using cleaner renewable sources like solar power, but then also, using some of the incentivizations that my team, was able to come up with to, kind of spur that use and that tracking of your energy much more efficiently than just the once a month on your monthly utility bill.
Also, to add on to that, Brandon, a really interesting aspect that I want to perhaps elaborate on is that with blockchain, I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with the technology, but one of the key components is that it's a decentralized ledger that everyone can see. And so with it comes a sort of lack of privacy. That is not just for this project. This is something that people way smarter than us have been working on since blockchain's inception in 2009. And so I think it's kind of an ebb and a flow of how much are people willing to sacrifice their personal data for energy efficiency and incentives, financial rewards. And that's a conversation that's happening not just here, but I'm sure in the halls of Congress right now. So it'll be very interesting to see how over the next 5 years, different communities will be open to ideas like this one.
Excellent. Yeah, it's very interesting to see how much data plays a role in our lives now. Even most industries you look at, there's almost always a tie-in with data. So that's definitely a very interesting point. So if we have no further questions, please, if you still have more questions for the team, feel free to hop into the breakout rooms, as well as take a look at the team members' LinkedIn pages. They would all be very happy to reach out to you individually to further discuss the project. So now I will pass it on to Chloe to introduce us to our next project team.
Awesome.